Hello, I'm Jay, owner of Volunteer Audio in Oliver Springs, Tennessee, and today we're going to do a major sound upgrade to our 2024 Harley-Davidson Roadglide. Now, I'm not talking about audio. We've already done that, and you can check out those videos. But now that the audio is loud and clear, it's time to upgrade the exhaust. And there's no better brand than Khrome Werks, so I hope you watch as I show you step-by-step how to install these new mufflers. But we're also going to take the time to let you hear the before and after footage of what it sounds like, and we'll go a little bit more in depth as to all the different options you have from Khrome Werks for your new Harley-Davidson. All right, so at volunteeraudio.com, you're going to be able to see all of the Khrome Werks options we have for your Harley-Davidson. We're working today on a 2024 model, but you'll also see we have some videos we've already done on our 2023.5 CVO Streetglide and Roadglide, showing you that before and after sound as well. This being a base model bike, it's going to have the new 114 engine. And I know so many of you have bought this bike and decided, man, the exhaust just doesn't sound like a Harley. It's way too quiet, it's not deep in tone, but we've got the solution right here from Khrome Werks. All right, so we have many colors and tip options from Khrome Werks. So let's go over a few of those because I know not all of you are going to have a base model bike with black exhaust. If you've got a CVO and it could be a 21, 22, they did this a few years older, but they've also done the 23.5 and new CVOs in a couple different colors are offered with what we call Eclipse exhaust. That is going to be black chrome. Some people call it scorched chrome. But Khrome Werks actually does the factory color for the CVO, so it matches perfect. It's not black, it's not chrome, it's somewhere in between, and they offer many different tip options, both in this exact color or in a black and machined accent to match those platinum bikes from a year or two back. It matches the floorboards, it matches the grips great. Now, if you had an older bike, and when I say older, like a 23, and you have the extended bags, extended fender, the edge tip that you see here on this chrome one fits those bikes really, really well. Now, we're not going to put that tip on our bike because the new body style has these short bags. It's more geared toward performance and the ability to lean further into curves. So this doesn't necessarily fit that exact shape of the factory bags. I've seen it on it. It doesn't look bad, but it's not as popular as it once was. Now, you could have got this same bike with chrome exhaust, and the Khrome Werks is going to match that chrome perfectly. Again, here's another option showing the Eclipse again, but with that black and machine tip versus that color match tip. Now on our bike, we're going to go with an all black, this flat black muffler. It's going to match the rest of the exhaust. And I think I'm going to go with this tip here. This is what they call their classic tip. It looks a whole lot more like a factory style tip. I love the look of it, and I think it's going to give us the sound we want while keeping, without the need to change all the rest of the exhaust. Now we do have, the other option would have been this very similar look, would have been this race tip. This is very new from Khrome Werks. It's very minimal, and it does really well on like a 2-into-1 system where you just want to have that little short looking race tip on it. The other option we haven't talked about is Obsidian. Now that would be on the new CVO STs. Khrome Werks makes that color in a slip-on, but they've had a lot of trouble keeping up with production, some production issues, and right now there's no ETA on when we'll have more of those back in stock, but it looks a lot like Eclipse, but it's a lot darker. It's really just gloss black, but a very similar coating process. Now let's get onto our bike. We're going to put this thing on a stand, and I'll show you in a few minutes just how easy it is to change these mufflers out, and then we'll take it for a ride, and I'll show you that before and after footage side by side, both sitting still and going down the road. Now you're going to want to watch the next video because Khrome Werks offers various inserts that go inside of these mufflers to change the sound. Some are to make it quieter, some are to make it throatier. We're going to go over those different performance inserts and even the quiet baffles, and I'm going to let you hear the difference between each one before you purchased it. But I think what you're going to find out is these mufflers sound amazing, just like they come with that factory packing that's in them. All right, so let's get our bike on a stand and let's get these installed. All right, so before we take the factory mufflers off and we put our new Khrome Werks 4.5-inch slip-ons on, let's fire this thing up and remind you of what it sounded like before we upgraded the exhaust. So as you can see, it's quiet enough, I can hear the ticks in the front of the motor, which kind of aggravates me. I'd love for it to have a deeper, lower tone, something a little throatier, but not obnoxious. I think you'll see that's the end result we're gonna get. All right, so before you get started, there's just very few tools you're gonna need for this. You're gonna need a 13mm socket. You're gonna need a 9/16 to loosen the exhaust clamp at the front of the muffler. And you're gonna need a 5/16 to take some of the shields loose to slide back to get access to those clamps. Make sure you have those tools, get your bike up on a stand or somewhere level, and then you're gonna remove both of your bags. Your bags are very easy, just open the lid. We're gonna untwist those retainers, and then we're gonna check for any wiring from added on speakers or lighting. Make sure we unplug things. We're gonna take our bags off and set them to the side. All right, so if you just had your bike running or you pulled it in, make sure they're not too hot before you get to this part. But what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna loosen this heat shield. You're gonna see there's a couple clamps that go around it, and a 5/16 socket is all we're gonna need to loosen that up. I'm just loosening it enough that I've got some room to be able to pull that off of the converter here. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Now I'm gonna loosen this large 9/16 clamp that's going over our muffler. All right, so I just did this on 2 CVOs, and it used the same socket on both sides. But in this case, on our 24, I've got a 15mm on the right side and a 9/16 on the left. So get a 15mm socket and loosen the big clamp that goes around your muffler. All right, so now that that clamp's loose, we should be able to slide that muffler off. Let's take our 2 13mm bolts out of the end of that muffler. Keep these because these are going to hold your new mufflers right back on. All right, you should be able to now just grab hold of the muffler, wiggle it around, and slide it off. Sometimes it takes a lot more wiggling depending on how old the bike is or how long it's been on. All right, so we're going to take the clamp off of this muffler and reuse it on our new one. We'll set this muffler over to the side. All right, so let's take a second and compare our stock muffler to our new muffler. Now you're going to realize that your right side exhaust has a larger inlet. Your left side is going to be a smaller one. And you'll see it matches up, and you're going to have an indentation in the factory muffler. There's also one in your ChromeWerks muffler that's going to line up with that rear suspension. Same type of bolt-on mounting system, so it's going to be a really easy exchange. But look how small this internal passage is in this muffler. It's really choking us down a lot on power. And according to ChromeWerks, we're going to gain about 12% in torque and about 7% in horsepower. So it's going to be a significant improvement in power simply by opening that up. Look how large that pass-through is, how much more flow we're going to get. But on top of that, we're going to get a much better sound. So I'm going to get our clamp, slide it on the end of our muffler. We're going to go over and get this put on. And you may have to loosen this up a little bit more. You may want to take a screwdriver and open that clamp up a little bit more, and it'll allow it to slide on a little bit easier. All right, that should be good. We just want to make sure that we're over the end of the pipe and we're covering these slits in it. So when we go back together, we tighten it up, it's going to pull that in and get us a good, nice seal. Take our new muffler and just slide it on. We're going to rotate it or twist it around until it lines up with your bolt holes. Go ahead and start them by hand. Make sure you reinstall this lock washer. We don't want these to vibrate out going down the road. We're going to go ahead and tighten them both up. So now's a good point to go ahead and take a tape measure and measure the distance from this bar to the tip of your exhaust. We're really just going to do this to make sure that both sides match. I'm going to slide it forward just a little bit so I've got a little bit of room with my shield here. I'm going to grab that measurement. In this case, from the bar to the end, I've got about 6.5 inches. I'll try to make that match on the other side. That way we have that same distance sticking out. I'm just going to make sure that my muffler is hanging in a neutral position, and I'm going to tighten up this clamp. All right, so my muffler looks to be hanging straight. Just verify I'm still at that same distance. We are. And I'm going to tighten my shield back up on this side. Just those exhaust clamps or those hose clamps. All right, just that easy. Let's move to the other side and get that muffler changed out. Again, just going to loosen both of these clamps. Not taking them off, just a little loose. Now on this side it was a 9/16, so I'm going to go ahead and take loose this hose, the muffler clamp. All right, that should be plenty loose. Let's remove these two 13 millimeters. And again, a little wiggling around, should be able to slide this muffler off. And that was a little smoother and a little easier than the other side. So don't forget to transfer your clamp over to your muffler. All right, we just want to make sure that clamp is facing downward as we go to put it back on onto our bike. All right, so we're going to go ahead and tighten these down because this will still slide even after it's tightened, so we can get our distance there. I'm going to bring my clamp in a little bit. I'm not going to go tight, but I'm just going to get it where there's a little less wiggle room before we start measuring. I'll see that wiggle starts to stop. I'll recheck this distance. All right, on the other side, I was right at 6.5 inches from the bar. We're a little out further on this side, so I'll wiggle it in just slightly. 6.5 on the dot. So we'll go ahead and tighten it up some more. Make sure we're hanging in a neutral position there. All right, looks good from behind. Everything looks good and level. At this point, I'll go ahead and tighten up these clamps, putting our exhaust shield back where it was supposed to be. All right, let's get our bags put back on. Let's fire this bike up. Let's see what it sounds like now that we've got our new exhaust on. All right, so just that fast, just a few minutes with some basic hand tools, we upgraded our exhaust. And I hope these videos encourage you to take on tasks like this yourself. Save that labor, don't pay somebody to do it. This isn't that hard to do. If it's something you don't want to do on your own though, you can reach out to Volunteer Audio. We'd love to have you come in. We could do the exhaust for you, whether that be true duals, 2-in-1, or just slip-ons. And we can do that while we're doing audio upgrades and other things for you as well. But enough time has passed. Let's check out what it sounds like. I think you're going to find out it sounds really good now. Okay, now you can hear it's quite a bit louder. I can't really hear the engine as much as I'm hearing the exhaust. A lot lower, deeper tone. Let me get it off the stand. Let's go for a ride, and I'll show you that side-by-side comparison as we go by and show you what it sounds like from the outside. All right, so what do you think? I think it sounds amazing, and my bike finally sounds like a Harley should. If you've got ChromeWerks exhaust on your bike, or if you're thinking about putting it on, comment below in the video. Let me know what you think about the sound as well. I think that comparison between stock to now is just a night and day difference, and I really like the low tone that we get from ChromeWerks. And again, it's not raspy, it's not annoying, it's not enough that I'm going to get tired of hearing it. I think it's going to be great the whole ride. Now, watch our next video. The next video, I'm going to show you some different performance baffles and inserts that you can put in these mufflers and change the sound if you have a desire for a different sound. And we're going to show you some before and after footage. We'll show you the stock again, what it sounds like the way it comes, and then we'll do a drive-by as well as sitting still footage of each of the different baffles. So whether you need one to make it quieter to meet a sound ordinance, or if you want something to change the tone, you need to watch this next video. All the ChromeWerks options that you could want are available at volunteeraudio.com. If you have trouble finding the one you're looking for, the tip style, the body style, you can also call our knowledgeable sales staff at 1-844-30-AUDIO, and you'll get a live person that knows what they're doing that can help you get the right exhaust for your bike. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you would subscribe and follow Volunteer Audio both on YouTube and Facebook to learn the latest about Harley accessories as they come out. And we'll try to make sure we show them to you on the bike, let you hear them, and find out if it's right for you before you make your purchase. And as always, when you purchase from Volunteer Audio, you're going to get the best sales support. We're going to do free install support as far as helping you if you have questions during your installation. We're also going to make great step-by-step videos like you just watched today showing you how to do it. But we're also going to stand behind those warranties directly at Volunteer Audio. So ChromeWerks lifetime warranties are exhaust. They're actually owned by the Lincoln Welder Company. They make them right here in the U.S. in Lincoln, Nebraska, and they're the best exhaust, I think, quality-wise, you can put on your bike. Not only is it going to sound good, it's going to look good, and it's going to perform good, and we're going to guarantee it continues to do that. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, God bless.